men net agreement, minus 42% men net agreement for people over the age of 50. There is no way. That is insane, dude. Look at that generational divide. This is what I'm telling you. This is what I've been telling you. Stream has not been equally accessible to all, 44%. I'm proud to be an American, 42%. America is in decline, 42%. America is a force for good in the world, 33%. The values and culture that America, what it is, are disappearing, 30%. Black and African American people face systemic disadvantages in America, 24%. Men plus 50 say -1. Men over the age of 50 look to Black and African American people and the systemic disadvantages that they experience and go, nah, that is, dude, that is insane. It's net agreement. So that means more people disagree than agree. It means 51% or what, 52%? No, 51% of people disagree with it. American systems of power are built on the marginalization of minorities, 24%. So what we're experiencing here is that like young men are a lot more, like in some respects, they're a lot more woke than older men. But most significantly, they are 1,000% recognizing that America is no longer the land of prosperity that it once was for their father's generation, for their father's generation. That's what it is. Okay? You need to understand this. You need to recognize this reality. It's 50.5, not 51%. Sorry. Thank you for correcting me on this. America has a history of discrimination that is worse than most countries, 21%. America has become an oligarchy, not a democracy, 20%. Palestinians have a right to resist Israeli occupation through 17% men net agreement, minus 42% men net agreement for people over the age of 50. There is no way. That is insane, dude. Look at that generational divide. This is what I'm telling you. This is what I've been telling you. This is what I keep repeating over and over again. If you grew up with a metric ton of insane pro-Israeli propaganda in mainstream discourse, Israel is the greatest nation on earth. It's the most moral nation on earth. They made the desert bloom. Israel is the startup nation. It's the only democracy in the region. Israel is fighting all of our enemies for us. If that's the only thing that you saw, you are at odds with reality, and you are at odds with a shit ton of the population under the age of 30. What an insane statement, dude. What an insane disparity. I think that's the biggest gap. America's a global imperial oppressor is the only... Yeah, America is a global imperial oppressor, minus 45 versus 8. And then we get to America has become overrun by immigrants, 5%. Look at that. 5 net 5-point agreement. Net 5. Look at a few up. Elections in America don't represent people like me. America's at risk of becoming a fascist country, 14-19. What the? Wait, what? Most people are sexist and biased, whether they admit it or not. 16, yes. Minus 12. Me when HasanAbi has a massive male audience, but I've never met a man who has considered putting a pronoun in his bio. I've never met a man that is even close to being a leftist IRL like men are. Wait, what? Dude. Putting a pronoun in your bio is neither here nor there. Like, who gives a if you do that? That's not like being that's not what we're saying anyway, but that's not what being a leftist is about. When we look at stuff like this, this is primo for radicalization, okay? This environment is primo. These guys are primed to be radicalized. Either radicalized towards the truth, which is that the systemic problems that you are experiencing in terms of not having any future prospects that you think are positive is directly caused by capitalism, or radicalized in a really nefarious way for evil, saying It's actually the, brown people that are ruining your life. It's actually the women in video games that are ruining your life. Look at that. Look at what these people think. Look, elections in America don't represent people like me, 13%. Plus 13 net approval. America's more the bad guy than the good guy, plus 11 net approval. There's a great replacement of America's currently happening, 9. That's plus 9 net approval, plus 10 for men over the age of 50. There's going to be some guys in there, okay? Of course. They are being shown. But what you have to remember is like, I love that this, by the way, there's a great replacement of America's currently happening is at plus 9. America has become overrun by immigrants is at plus 5. Like, how? That's literally a lighter version, dude. Can you take her outside? Big dog. Some of them think it's black people replacing whites and some think it's immigrants. Yeah, that makes sense. That's got to be the only thing. I feel like people answering this don't know the great replacement phrase and its historical meaning. No, for sure. But like, what do people think is being replaced here? Anyway, it doesn't matter who wins elections. Nothing changes. Plus 3, minus 20. It's accurate to describe America as a hellscape, dystopia, or a dying empire. Plus 3. Nothing any politician has ever done has helped me. Plus 1. America should pay reparations to black and African American people as compensation for slavery and racial oppression. Minus 2, minus 50 for men over the age of 50. I'm not even remotely kidding when I say, if you were alive during Jim Crow, you think it was fair? That's amazing. Yeah. I'm not joking when I say this. I mean, obviously, America's a very deeply white supremacist country. However, Americans should pay reparations to black and African American people as compensation for slavery and racial oppression. Sitting at minus 2 in net agreement for men in between the ages of 18 to 29 is one of the most shockingly progressive things I've seen when I track it against American political history. That is unimaginably progressive for what America has been about. If you want to understand what America historically looked like, look no further than men plus 50 net agreement. That's very interesting. This also directly goes against the idea that like all of these young men are little rabid psychopaths. Now, obviously, I shouldn't be, you already know this because you are in this demographic group and you don't fit that mold. And there are many others like you. This is precisely what I talked to the Pod Johns about. Obviously, anti-China sentiment works really well. Russia has a better impact on the world than America, minus 48, minus 69. Prisons and police, as we know them, should be abolished, minus 14, minus 69. America should pay reparations at minus 2. The economy or jobs, relative importance ages plus 50 is minus 7. That's funny. Inflation, jobs, very important. The economy, 19%, 18%, 19%. Corruption, 14%, 12%, 13%. Crime, 13%, 12%, 13%. It's so funny that half of these things are... Podjohn said it was surprising that the Medicare for Home Leave stuff is scoring so high. They were also glazing Cheney plus Harris events and claimed Harris has made no concessions to secure that support, completely ignoring the Dem right-wing shift. Yeah. Most people that try to justify misstating, most people are ignorant because you know what's wrong. But instead of trying to be a better person, you rather write off with, well, everyone is sorry. I was eating oatmeal while trying to type. Y'all know I type slow by now. Yeah, that's not what we're doing, though. Most people aren't as also learned anyway. The problem is America as a system is a white supremacist one, and you see the results here. Anyway, 18 to 29, relative importance, Social Security, Medicare. Social Security, Medicare, 10%. Government spending and the budget deficit, 9%. Relative importance for 30 to 49-year-olds, 5%. Relative importance for people ages of 50 plus, 16%. Government spending and the budget deficit. We need to send everyone over the age of 50 to Mars alongside Elon Musk. We need to ship them out right now. Okay? No, you're done. You're gone. You tell me that you give up about this. You're going to Mars. Okay? One-way ticket. Go deal with the budget over there. You're going to die tomorrow, old man. Why the... Oh my God. At least 16% of people aged 50 plus need to be deported to Mars. Okay. National security and foreign policy, 9%, minus 2%, 19%. Climate change and environment, 9%, minus 2%, minus 6%. Men and boys failing behind in education and jobs, 3%, minus 1%, minus 14%. Anyway, yeah, transgender issues. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Oh my God, we literally do not care at all. Just understand something, chat. This right here proves the point that I am making, okay? You understand that, right? It is literally the lowest. The things that I routinely explain to people are the lowest. No one cares, dude. No one cares. Cryptocurrency, you can't even force me at gunpoint to care about cryptocurrency. Now, one thing that I do find shocking from this issue, one thing that I do find that's like kind of shocking in terms of relative importance, the fact that Israel-Palestine is actually less important for younger men, seemingly, than it is for older men is kind of shocking. Is that framed as helping transgender people? Yes. When people say they do not give up about trans issues, yes, that's a good thing for trans people, okay? It's a bad thing for trans people when right-wingers actually take advantage of that lack of interest to just like farm a bunch of anti-trans bills. But it's actually a good thing for trans people overall because most people don't give a shit enough to be like, we want to trans people in the form of legislation. Do you understand what I'm saying? That has been my point, by the way. That has been my point. There are not enough Matt Walsh style people. Anyway, men trust Harris on abortion plus 18, net trust, transgender issues plus 11, education plus 11, healthcare plus 10, climate change environment plus 9, Social Security and Medicare plus 9, political correctness plus 3, energy 0. I wonder why. Election integrity minus 1. Wait, what? Election integrity? Men and boys falling behind in education minus 1, corruption minus 2. What the? Yo, no wonder she's getting cleaned out, dude. This is weird. This is like, this stuff makes sense up here. But if people are looking at Kamala Harris and being like, nah, I think Trump is more trustworthy on election integrity, what the is going on? If people actually look at Trump being better on men and boys falling behind in education and jobs, I get it. That might be a little misogynistic. That's fine. Corruption minus 2. What the is going on? Cancel culture makes sense because Democrats that's fine. They like own cancel culture, even though Republicans do cancel culture way more frequently. But Democrats, they've been able to very successfully present the Democratic Party as the cancel culture party in perpetuity, despite doing the overwhelming majority of cancellations. I myself have been the recipient of such cancellation attacks with my commentary on 9/11 and whether America deserved it or not, and numerous other instances where I've been canceled by opponents of mine, ideological opponents of mine. But once again, that's neither here nor there. It's just Democrats own it for the most part because Republicans have propagandized it. Anyway, the decline of the family, the opioid epidemic, minus 5. Dude, the Biden administration, love them, hate them. Everybody here agrees that they're doing okay. But there is one thing that they have also done, which is lower the opioid overdoses for the first time in the last multiple decades. That is crazy. Once again, people are just like looking at the reality and going, I don't give a dog, the reality. It is crazy. The Biden administration has lowered opioid overdoses through harm reduction policies. That is straight up the case. That is literally reality. What are we doing? What are we doing? Like, I can understand how people can be like, oh, like on the economy, they're going to suck. On Israel, Palestine, they're sucking. So I think they're going to suck even more. Okay. But like, this is something that is directly at odds with reality. Okay. Oh, my head hurts. My head hurts from all of this. Man, every time one of these polls come out, it's just like, it's basically reaffirming every single thing I've said. It's basically like one big thing where they're like, hey, you know what? Like, hey, you know what, Hasan, you were right. You were so right. Let me tell you how right you were. Let me tell you what everything you've said has been, how everything you've said has been totally correct. Okay. In terms of Kamala Harris's messaging, in terms of what they're focusing on and what they should be prioritizing. Everything you've done is correct. Great. It breaks my brain. But yeah, don't worry. People will still turn around and be like, your vibes overall were off the entire time. Me.
Yeah, I'm sure is there, Rachel. Thank you so much for pointing that out for us. We're going to get more from our political director and Washington Bureau Chief Rick Klein. The race.
Have you seen this clip? Student asking if Trump sees them as human. My transphobic uncle saw this and started tearing up.
Vice President Harris a question. What would it be?
I think I would ask her, how soon do you think we can get the Equality Act passed?
How about Donald Trump?
I would ask him, do you see me as a human?
Oh, I'm sorry. If you were to ask Vice President Harris a question.
It's crazy because in 2016, it would have been like, yeah, I don't give a shit. You can piss in any bathroom you want. In 2020, no. The answer is no. That's what's so crazy about it. Like, Trump was literally pro-trans, dude. He was pro-trans when he was running for president in 2016. I will never forget that famous moment where he's like standing in front of these Republicans at this like shitty ass rally that he's conducting. What? I wouldn't say pro-trans, indifferent. No, dog. He ran on a pro-trans. No, dude. No. Trump was literally pro-trans. He hugged a pride flag. He said that North Carolina was stupid for doing a bathroom bill. He said North Carolina is stupid. Now, what he did after he became president is different. Of course, he like banned trans people from the military, shit like that. But like when he ran on it, he ran as a pro-trans candidate. He talked about defending the LGBTQ. He literally said he would defend LGBTQ in a 2016 RNC speech. He said it, of course, in an Islamophobic way. He was like, I'm going to defend the LGBTQ from Islamic. So he was lying, nothing new. Of course he was lying. Of course he was lying, chat. The point is, what you lie about when you're campaigning is very important. Do you understand me? What you choose to message around, what you choose to lie about is profoundly important. That's it. Because it reveals the way that candidates recognize the game. It reveals the way that candidates look at the board and go, this is not an issue that I, need to pay attention to or harp on, or this is an issue that I have to concede on. Okay. Anyway, let's see what Tim Walz had to say about the Cheney support on Jon Stewart.
Anything. Do we really have to do that?
Look, it goes broader than that. Look, Bernie Sanders, Dick Cheney, Taylor Swift.
No.
The shooting?
No.
Having the Cheneys on board?
Nah. You can't Dick Cheney or Taylor Swift. No.
Thank you, Jon Stewart.
What country did Taylor Swift get us to invade? No.
No, don't you think, though, that, and I do this, I believe this, there is still a core group of folks out there, your point being, and not joke, the don't tread on me, the Reagan piece of this, the libertarian piece, but the constitutional piece, there are a lot of people out there. I think Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney give permission to those folks who want to find a reason to do the right thing. It doesn't mean they agree with us. We're not going to take their foreign policy decisions and discussions, and implement those.
But you are, like, no disrespect to Timmy boy, but this is further than the neocon agenda ever could have imagined itself getting to. Last week, the American government revealed a leak within the American security apparatus showed that we were analyzing Israel's retaliation against Iran. That is the underpinning of neocon sentiment, the agenda. That is above and beyond what any neocon could have ever imagined. That's the big prize, dude. That is literally the final thing that they wanted. That's what's so crazy about this. When he says, like, what do you mean Iran was next? If Iraq and Afghanistan went better? No, Iran was always the final prize. Iran was always the top billing. It's the end game. They've always wanted Iran. And now the Democrats are giving Iran. And that's what's crazy. He's like, oh, we would never follow the neocon agenda. It's like, dog, that's crazy because you said you would nuclear first strike Iran. You said on the VP debate, first answer the question, the rights, you stared down the barrel of the gun and you said, we must let the state nuke Iran. That's crazy. Why would the Cheneys endorse Kamala unless she's adopting their positions?
We're going to take their
promise. Come on, John. You should. This is what I mean. It's like he's not. When people say the Kamala Harris campaign is not giving anything to the Republicans, they're just simply picking up those votes. And then they spend every waking moment parading Liz Cheney around Michigan. Are they stupid? That's the question I have. Are they dumb? You are literally telling everyone in your base of support that you are taking their votes for granted because you desperately want a couple of Republicans to turn tail and come and vote for you. Like, it is the dumbest. It is the dumbest thing that you could do.
Is as tight as ever, and many have already cast their vote.
Yeah. Good morning, Robin. We have seen a huge number of Americans already voting. Almost 17 million people have cast their ballots, 10 million alone in the last week. As expected, the voting pace is down a bit from early voting 2020 when we had COVID disrupt so many things. But just to zoom in on a couple of states to draw some patterns, this is what we're seeing so far in Georgia in terms of the party breakdown. You're still seeing more Democrats than Republicans voting early, but a little bit less so than last time around. Republicans seem to be eating into the voting advantage early that they enjoyed last time around. A similar story in Pennsylvania, where we're seeing in-person voting set records. Again, there are more Democrats than Republicans voting, but a little bit less so than last time around. We don't know if that's a sign of momentum or if these are just people who previously voted on Election Day now listening to a party that kind of changed its tune on early voting, Robin.
Could be. Okay, with the polling showing and tight in the battlegrounds, where are the candidates focusing down the stretch?
Yeah, we've seen the battlegrounds tighten almost across the board. Donald Trump up a little bit, not a huge amount, but a little bit in a bunch of places. And right now it is a battle for the suburbs. This is a glimpse at some of the places that that we saw Vice President Harris in the last couple of days. She's going to be in Delaware County, Pennsylvania tomorrow. Delaware County, right outside Philadelphia.
Have you ever seen a politician in your life come out and do something more progressive than what they ran on? Told you about how the early voting stuff doesn't tell you shit? No, it's never happened. And it will not happen with Kamala Harris. She will be even more conservative than she's presenting herself, which is really scary to think of because she's presenting herself as a damn near Dick Cheney style neocon when it comes to foreign policy. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. Like, I think the Pod Johns conversation that I had was like very instructive. I feel like I saw something. I saw like something from the internal communications that I wasn't supposed to when Pod John told me, oh, well, we're getting a lot of, the campaign is fielding a lot of calls from Jewish voters in Michigan that say like that they care about Israel. I think that's got to be it, right? That's the reason why the Harris campaign is sending pro-Israel AIPAC shill Richie Torres to Michigan. Like, I think they legitimately think that there are a lot of Jews in Michigan that are just like singular voters for Israel, which no poll has ever shown to me. And I don't know why they're doing that. I think that's got to be it, right? I've never seen that before. Biden was not more progressive on domestic policy than we expected him to be. Even though, okay, so you're admitting that he ran on more progressive stuff than he actually accomplished. Okay. Yeah, that's what Central Committee is saying. No politician ever outflanks their agenda. Biden didn't either. But Biden did do more of his agenda in terms of domestic policy than we thought he would do because we thought he wouldn't do anything. I don't know what's going on with the internal polling in the Democratic Party with Michigan. Like, I feel like maybe they got like with Hillary, they thought they didn't have to campaign in Michigan as much and they lost it. And I think like with Kamala Harris, now they think like they have to put out a pro-Israel sentiment to win Michigan, which is also delusional. I don't know. She didn't even mention Israel. West Michigan is arguably a one-issue Israel region. I was at the Harris rally in Grand Rapids. She didn't even mention Israel. No, I'm talking about this. Doug Emhoff, Richie Torres reassure Michigan Jewish voters Harris supports Israel. How is you accidentally receiving sensitive information about the Dems? No, it was on a podcast. I don't ignore my theory there, but what if she's just farming early votes from Zionists, knowing that apathetic people will still show up if she changes her tune on Israel in a few days? No, that's insane. No, I think that is completely insane. The reason why I think that is completely insane is because like they're double. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to lie. I have not seen a single poll that shows that the American Jewish vote is singularly focused on more, please. And as a matter of fact, I've only seen the opposite. Okay. So I don't know where these guys are getting this data from, where they're like, we have to reassure the Jewish voters that Harris still supports Israel. It's like, dude, what the are you saying? Every time you come out like this, you are cooking yourself. What is this? March 21st. Majority of U.S. say Israel's valid reasons for fighting. Fewer say the same about Hamas. 57% express some sympathy for both Israelis and Palestinians. I'm talking about specifically the embargo. Like, I think I am fearful that we are literally going to look back at this and be like, the warning signs were right there. How the f did we not see this? Like, there's so much polling on this, on a weapons embargo. There's so much polling on what it would do to enthusiasm, voter enthusiasm in general, if she were to take action against Israel in any capacity. I don't know how much more data we can directly look at, you know? Like, Israel's reasons for fighting Hamas, not sure, is at 28%. Harris does not or has never dictated policy on public pressure. She's just going with what her handlers say. Fair. In the month of February, it was 21% somewhat completely acceptable, 17% somewhat acceptable, 14% completely unacceptable, 20% somewhat 20% completely unacceptable, 14% somewhat unacceptable. Polling dams broke this morning with at least 12 new polls, 7 polls from WAPO. You got Georgia Harris 51-47. You got Wisconsin Harris 50-47. You got Pennsylvania Harris 49-47. You got Nevada tying at 48-48. North Carolina, Trump at 50 over Harris's 47. And Arizona, Trump at 49 over Harris's 46. The loyalty of the political class to Israel will never be challenged. What? No, it's just, I think for a lot of people, they literally cannot see a world. They cannot see a world outside of like anything different in terms of American foreign policy. That's it. They are terrified, scared shitless of changing that. Anyway, let's look at this New York Times article on Michigan. In Michigan, trade policies and the water crisis looms large for voters.
Hey, you couldn't beat it.
It's made me growing up in Flint was
it was a pretty happening place at one time.
Hey, you couldn't beat it.
It's made me resilient because the city's resilient.
In, the mid-70s, General Motors was booming and it was at its prime.
The closing of GM and taking out those jobs, it hit Flint real hard.
It kind of decimated Flint.
Neighborhoods are gone.
We still are waiting for the rebound.
I'm a waitress of 23 years.
I'm a realtor.
I'm going to college.
I'm a photographer.
I work in the automotive industry.
I'm a retiree from General Motors.
I would say there's a lot of division in the state of the country right now.
My area is very divided. It's definitely feeling very 50-50.
I can feel that tension through the community.
All my life, I've been voting Democrat.
I would prefer my daughter to definitely date or get married to a Republican.
I get along well with my neighbor. We just don't talk politics.
Whoever wins, I still believe it's going to be trouble in the land.
Yeah, baby. I'm voting PSL in Michigan, Cope, Liberal.
How I feel about Harris as a candidate is it scares me.
I don't agree with most of her issues. I think that she is more so focused on being a personality. I haven't seen her answer many questions.
She doesn't have a plan for this country. She's being used by really higher powers that be as a puppet.
Are they going to actually elect a woman? It's going to be something to see if it happens. It's going to be awesome.
When I think about Trump served as our president, everything seemed to be going very well.
I voted for Trump back in 2016, and I plan to do so again.
I think he's the finest president we've ever had, and the strongest.
MAGA. I mean, America's already great.
He has 34 felonies against him. If you had done a fraction of what President Trump did, and you applied for a job, I don't know, Aldi, Kroger, at a law firm, do you think you could get hired?
One thing that scares me about him, when he said, and I don't know what has slipped over some people, but if you elect me this time, you will never have to vote again. He wants to be a dictator. He really does.
I can't tell if he's like pro or anti-Trump. Why is he saying things out of both ends of the mouth? He's anti? I know, but he makes it seem like he might be pro-Trump. I don't really understand it. Okay, he's joking. Okay, it's sarcasm. I'm being autistic. Okay. Every time I hear average voters in the United States of America and their assumptions about presidential candidates, albeit marginally, but it moves me in the direction of dictatorship. Marginally, a dictatorship of the proletariat. But every time I hear people be like that woman was like, Kamala Harris is a personality. I voted for Trump in 2016. I'm going to do it again. It's like, dog, Trump literally is a television personality. It is his only good quality. You got to stop using autism that way, man. Lol. Yeah, you're right, dude. I should not recognize my own inability to interpret people's tone for you know, the obvious reason as to why I'm having a hard time interpreting people's tone. Like, what is it? Like 65% of the community is neurodivergent in some fashion. And 100% of the community says I'm autistic. So I don't agree with this assessment, but my favorite part of these videos is they introduce these people as undecided voters, and blammo, near the end you get hit. Oh, by the way, I voted for Trump 3 times already. One was fraud because giddy up. Yeah, it's always the same shit. Tyrone McIntyre, 59, who lives just outside of Flint, works an overnight shift as a dog worker, says she was seeking out sales and cutting back on purchases like ground beef. Everything is so high.
The state of the economy is a big one.
The economy is not good.
Everyone's paying higher amount in groceries.
You get a little bag of groceries and it costs you $50. It's ridiculous.
And gas?
Gas prices.
Gasoline. My God, gasoline has driven everything up.
It's hard to save as much as I used to.
Trying to find a place to live is the hardest part. Like, it's so hard to rent. They ask you to make 3 times the amount of rent a month.
The, Biden-Harris campaign had 4 years to make changes, and in those 4 years, I haven't seen the economy thrive.
The Democrats' biggest problem when it comes to the economy thing is messaging. This economy has turned around, is headed in the right direction.
In the 4 years President Trump was in office, our economy was super. Our interest rates were at a super low.
He inherited a good economy, and he's going to take credit for it.
Our
and
interest
that's why
rates
I don't
were
want him
super low,
to be president
dog.
now.
What do you mean our interest rates are super low? Like what the f does Trump have to do with that, man? What are you saying? Okay, I was wrong about Unc. Unc is
I
kind of
drive
funny.
General Motors cars. I take care of the hands to take care of me.
Hello, Hasan, big fan. Hi,
Mercedes-Benz
chat. Hi, Peach
don't
Jars.
pay my pension. I can remember when I first started GM, I was making about $4.25 an hour. That was real good money. As a similar worker, you really become a human robot because everything is repetitious. And you're doing about 50, 60 jobs an hour. That was my life from 19 all the way to 54 years old. At that particular time, Flint was great. And when GM left the city, a lot of neighborhoods was abandoned because people no longer could afford their homes. They couldn't live to have the lifestyle they had. When you take the economy out of the city, you took the vein out of the city.
Immigration fears. Genesee County is about an hour's drive from the Canadian border, but many Republican voters say security on the faraway Mexican border is one of their top concerns, citing worries about an increase in crime. This, by the way, is just pure, okay? This is pure, unfiltered, unadulterated white supremacist distilled, okay? Like, there is no other way to analyze this statement. I care about border security because Mexicans are coming into the country and doing crime, and brown people are coming into the country and doing crime, is just pure. Sorry. There is no other way to analyze this question. There's no other way to look at this question. If you don't recognize that this is the major motivator here, we cannot have a normal conversation with it because you do not have an understanding of reality. It says Mexican border, not Mexicans, Lamau. It doesn't matter, OG Bobby Tortilla. Every brown person is captured under the Mexican umbrella here, okay? Yeah, they mean Guatemalans, Haitians, Hondurans, Venezuelans, Mexicans, okay? They mean it all. I get it. Oh, wow. Let's expand on this a little bit. Who's coming over the southern border? Non-whites, dumbass. That's the whole point. What the? Oh, I have a headache. Holy shit. Yeah, I've never heard her be like, Mexican immigrants are fine. It's the Hondurans I can't stand.
The illegal immigrants coming in is a big thing for me and my safety.
I feel like it's been a free-for-all at the southern border.
It scares me because I don't know who's coming across. Are they going to attack us?
Send the illegals back to where they came from and allow our veterans and homeless in our country to be taken care of for once.
I don't feel that they're a threat to me or the society at all.
I would love those immigrants to come to Flint, Michigan. It means more students in our schools. It means less vacant housing in our neighborhood.
As an African American from the South, I have ancestors that had to flee the South to come north. Now, what if they got across the Mason-Dixon line and the Northerners said, "You all not coming in here"? There's got to be a better way of dealing
people
with
that
it.
are pro Kamala Harris are significantly more understanding and significantly more pro-immigrant than the way the Kamala Harris campaign is presenting the migrant crisis. Wow. Let me tell you something. I am shocked, Chad. I am so shocked. Wait, where is it? Where is it? There was literally a poll right here. Share of people who say they support rounding up undocumented immigrants and putting them in the militarized camps like a straight up Nazi. Democrats, 22%. Republican, almost 80%. Independents, 47%. Now, this is before we even recognize that same reality that those polls, if asked to the same exact people, almost always say the exact same, by the same exact percentages, say they want to grant amnesty, conditional amnesty to migrants that have been living on the U.S. soil for an extended period of time.
The
All right, what did they say about the water
with
crisis?
the water crisis, it was horrible. I started having skin issues and my hair falling out, and I still suffer from skin issues. All these spots that I have are all from the water.
The Flint water crisis was a terrible thing, and I think it was mishandled. It would have been nice to have some transparency.
Wait, what? Why just the links to how to vote, donate, volunteer to local groups, getting people out is 2 weeks left? What? You're right. I should abandon my ideals and my principles and just shut the up and tell you, the Democrats are doing a great job. You're right. Immigrants, dude. You're right. Immigrants, right? Is that what you want me to say? Dude. You're right. Put them in concentration camps. Is that what you want me to say? Dumbass. Shut the up.
See?
It makes it hard to trust anybody.
Lawsuits have been filed. You had these lawyers came in. They got their share.
I've received nothing.
The people that was directly harmed by it, they haven't seen a dime yet.
Holy moly. Your job is to work for the Democratic Party because you work in media? Yeah, I know. What a cool thing. What a cool understanding. By the way, people saying clipped is so funny. Yeah, dog, if you clip that and ship that, I would get more fans. More Democrats would be in here. Okay, this is Discourse Bot, but that's like actually kind of a fire take from Discourse Bot. Call that noise as a DACA recipient. I love how you use your platform. Oh, wait a minute. You're about to have a bunch of people in your whispers being like, if you don't vote for Kamala Harris, I'm going to personally tell ICE that you are have fun getting deported under a Trump administration, sweetie, is what you're going to have whispers. Your DM's going to be filled with people who are supposedly vote blue no matter who, pro-migrant, telling you that you're about to get deported. Anyway, good stuff overall. And the race is still neck and neck.
Philadelphia, this is why it matters. Hillary Clinton won that county in the suburbs of Philly by about 66,000 votes. You fast forward, though, 4 years, Joe Biden won by 88,000 votes almost. So this is the kind of places where she needs to be running up the score. As for Donald Trump, he's going to be spending part of the day in Florida and then up in North Carolina, which was one of the most narrowly decided states in the country. He's going to be in a bluer part of a red state, but it was a very closely decided state last time around, and he's got to do what he can to hold on to states like that, Robin.
It just breaks down to those
Very
counties.
narrow.
Yeah, very narrow indeed.
Very
Okay,
narrow.
Rick. Our thanks to you.
Given that we have reached the final fortnight, and by that I mean 2 weeks exactly to the day.
Great language.
Left. Fortnight means 2 weeks. What, medieval?
Pause.
Sure, why not? I'm a medieval guy.
It's a good time to check in on where the race is. CNN senior data reporter Harry Yedden is ready to get medieval with us.
You're going to get knighted.
Yes. How close is this race?
Okay, so when we talk about a historically close race, oftentimes we talk about the national polling, but I wanted to try and dig into the state numbers to get an understanding of how close this race is. Holy cow, from a historical perspective. So what I did for all of the years going back since 1972 was I took a look at the final polls, and then I basically calculated out what the electoral map would look like and how high up would the leading candidate's electoral vote total get. And what we essentially see is right now the leader's electoral vote total is 276 electoral votes based upon the polls. If you go back since 72 and try and find the closest years, if you go back to 2000, which of course was a historically close election, at the end of the campaign, the poll leader's electoral vote total was just 281 electoral votes. That's where Gore was in the final polls of that campaign.
They stole that election with Florida, just like you steal the top of the hour ad break when you don't subscribe and you avoid seeing ads that way. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. What is this TikTok? Why do I click on random links in the chat? I don't even know.
Go back to 2004. George W. Bush was at 296 electoral votes. So based on...
Why are people being mean to Harry Enten? Because he's dude. He is. I'm sorry. He's just not Steve Kornacki.
Upon the polls at this point, we are heading into the election with the closest polls in the Electoral College that we have ever seen, at least over the last 50 years. It's stuff like this that gets me up in the morning. It gets me truly excited as a political sort of scientist.
This is a really interesting way to look at it. I never would have thought of this, but basically what the polls are showing right now, the polls.
Correct.
The closest race in terms of the electoral vote that we've ever seen.
Exactly
That's
right.
fascinating. All right, how about in the key states?
Yeah, how about in the key states? You know, it's not just when you tally up the electoral votes. Harris
Timu ad? That's the best, dude. What do you mean? You got a problem with Timu?
Likely must carry 3 of these 4 states to win, and these are the states most likely to determine the Electoral College. Look at this. North Carolina, less than a point lead for Trump. Wisconsin, less than a point lead for Harris. Michigan, the exact same thing. Pennsylvania, the exact
some quality goods, man.
same thing. Basically, the 4 states that are most likely to determine this outcome are all within a point. And when we span this out to the Electoral College, what do we get?
Hypothetical quotes. Distancing from President Biden. In a recent interview, Kamala Harris said, "I'm not happy with what greedy corporate giants got away with over the last few years. Joe Biden needed to get the economy back on track after the pandemic, but companies took advantage of that to jack up prices at a time when Americans were already hurting, and they got away with it. As president, I will be tougher on unethical businesses than Joe Biden was. They won't get a pass from me." Everybody liked that. +10 preference for all voters, +12 for independents. No way. No way. No way. Who could have fucking foreseen this? Who could have said, don't run towards Biden, run away from Biden? You got a gift. You got delivered a gift. Americans did not associate you with the problems that they experienced under the Biden regime. Oh no. It's 2 weeks out, man. It's 2 weeks out from the election. It's 2 weeks out from the election. And I know some dumb, the vote blue, no matter who dumps in the chat are going to be like, Hasan, you're the reason why Kamala Harris lost. I've been saying this for months. And they just went, la, 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 I can't hear you. You only care about Gaza. That's the reason why you're criticizing the Democrats. Oh my God.
Biden administration.
After some fits and starts and variness of coming across as disloyal to some voters to say they don't like how Biden was being treated, Harris is honing in on an answer about how she would be different than Biden. This took literally 3.5 weeks, dude. This took 3.5 weeks. This message took 3.5 weeks. Oh my God. Oh my God. This should have been the message day one. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm losing my mind. Oh my God. I've been saying this for literally months. Oh my God. Oh my God. I've been saying this for months. What a joke. What a spectacular joke this is. Oh my God. Yeah, people have already voted. Love this party. Oh my God. I want to. What's wrong with being a liberal? Dude, be a liberal all you want, but I can't stand a loser, okay? I can't stand a loser with no goddamn backbone. I can't stand a loser with no goddamn backbone who is like literally hammering the worst message possible for the past couple of months and then only figures out when the polls are like screaming bloody. I can't stand losers who don't fight against the Republican Party. I can't stand it. Okay? That's what I despise. And the Democrats are so good at it. Ed Ingementum on the polls. 2022 polling error world is so real to me. I live there. If polls miss like they did in 2022, Harris is up +1. But that's the problem, dude. It's a mistake, in my opinion, to look at a midterm where it's mostly where it's going to be high propensity voters going up against the turnout beast himself, Donald Trump. Mr. Turnout. That's your Kornacki. I know. Ed Ingementum is my Kornacki. Bro, if you're questioning the polls this late in the game, you're lost. I mean, the reason why Ed Ingementum is doing this and everyone else is doing this is because like they're just too close. They are entirely too close. Yeah. Look at the polls from 2016 and 2020 election and the polling error and then apply that polling error to this election and Trump is up big. No, that's not fair. That's not fair of an assessment to make. And the reason why that's not fair is because since 2020 and then in 2022, pollsters regularly tried to add They tried to add extra Trump support. Basically, they tried to make up for the polling errors. So even if they are consistent and correct, it's still unimaginably close for no reason.
Here's how I look at it. First of all, let me be very clear. Mine will not be a continuation of the Biden administration. I bring my own experiences, my own ideas to it, and it has informed a number of my areas of focus, most of which are, on, to your point, lowering costs. I am traveling the country. I am very clear. Cost of groceries still too high. The voters know it. I know it. So part of my plan includes what we need to do to bring down the price of groceries, including the work I will do dealing with price gouging, something I dealt with when I was Attorney General, something I will deal with going forward. Cost of housing. You know, I'm speaking with people of every background in every area of the country, of every age. And, you know, the idea of the American dream was something that previous generations could count on, not as much anymore. Bringing down the cost of housing by doing what I have done in my career that perhaps is a different approach, which is really actively working with the private sector, for example, home builders, to create incentives for them to build millions.
Do you think there will be a peaceful transition if Trump is president? What? That already happened, dog. What are you talking about? Hillary Clinton lost in 2016 and there was a peaceful transfer of power. There was no peaceful transfer of power when Trump was president, however. Democrats don't do shit like that. They're too cowardly to do anything to begin with. Also, they love Republicans. So what are you talking about? If anything, what's more likely? Both are very unlikely, but what's more likely? Democrats actually attacking the Republicans after an electoral defeat, or Democrats actually turning around and attacking like whoever they thought is the reason why they lost, not the Republicans, but instead leftists, Muslims, Arabs, maybe even Latinos or some shit. I don't know. Latino men, black men. Which is more likely? Both are unlikely to begin with, but I'm telling you right now, the second thing is more likely than them attacking the Republicans.
Millions of new homes in housing units so we can bring down the cost, including what I will do to give people a $25,000 down payment assistance if they are a first-time home buyer. So these are examples. The example is what I'm going to do to expand the child tax credit because, listen, young parents in particular, they need help. They have a natural desire to parent their children well, but not always the resource.